Welcome to another episode of The Pod Well Travelled. I'm Stephen Scarfield, the travel editor. We're based here in Perth in Western Australia. With me is Penny Thomas, travel writer, Mogens Johansen, travel writer, both recently back from the US, which of course is internationally is the subject of the week with what's going on politically there and legally there, I suppose, with former President Trump having new charges labelled against him. It's kind of, everything's in the air. Mogens is literally just back. So, Penny, you talked about your experiences on a recent episode, but how do you feel about having America, trumpeted as it is at the moment? Are you watching this?
Oh, yeah, it's interesting to watch. I do sort of like watching the sort of political sphere, and especially in international politics. It's always interesting, but it seems like it's been going on for a while now.
It has. It's an important point for us because as travel writers, we write about destinations, but they are still countries with all their problems and politics and everything else. And I think I'm just really making the point that we're acutely aware of what happens in these countries at every level, not just as destinations for holidays.
Yeah.
You must have felt that acutely.
As an outsider, I've got to say, you just shake your head at what's going on there. To be honest, I just find it unbelievable. It's a bit of a circus, isn't it? But that's only my opinion.
Well, no, it is. But I mean, given what we just said about that, your pictures are full of stars and stripes, and talking about a circus.
Oh,
in Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was invited up to Milwaukee, near Lake Michigan, to basically test ride a few new Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Milwaukee is Harley's hometown, and they were celebrating their 120th anniversary this year. So there's a big sort of homecoming festival arranged by Harley-Davidson. Until now, it has been every 5 years to celebrate anniversaries, but it was announced at this year's festival that it'll be an annual event from now on, and it is just amazing. I've never ever seen that many motorcycles in one place. It was mind blowing.
Yeah, right. I feel like Americans just love festivals, and I'm surprised they were doing it every 5 years before. Now they're taking it annually. It makes a lot more sense to rev things up a bit. Absolutely,
and it might sort of even out the crowds a little bit because they had I think over a long weekend they had 73,000 bikes visit the Harley-Davidson Museum. There was a sort of rock concert on 2 days down on what is called Veterans Park, right on the shore of Lake Michigan, that attracted 80,000 people over 2 days. Wow. I was there for when the Foo Fighters played at it was 45,000 people there for that. So it was just like fun and games all long weekend. It culminated in a parade through the centre of town with 7,000 motorcycles.
Wow.
It's like a conveyor belt of Harley-Davidsons coming down Michigan Avenue. It was just like, you had to see it to believe it. And if I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it.
Sounds like organised chaos. How far is the sort of main strip that everyone was going down?
It's probably about, I'm guessing, that's a good question, maybe 5 or 6 kilometres or something like that. But it just went on, and it was amazing to see how many people, as you said, they love a parade. It was amazing to see how many people came out to see it. But because you'd think, it's only motorcyclists that would go and enjoy that. But it was families and people waving flags and high-fiving the riders as they're coming past.
I can only just imagine the noise.
It was
phenomenal. I mean, if Taylor Swift's concert in Seattle registered on the Richter scale, 2-point-something seismic measurement for her concert, I can only imagine what this would have measured on.
Well, I mean, I don't want to stereotype Harley riders, but there is a tendency to alter the mufflers a little bit or the exhausts a little bit, and when you get a group of them together, they have to rev the bikes a bit and all that sort of stuff. So it was noisy. Yeah.
Were you a bit intimidated by that?
Well, look, not at the parade, but I mean, I was riding out to the Harley-Davidson Museum from my hotel on a new borrowed Harley-Davidson, and when you're surrounded by a lot of other bikes in a foreign place, they drive in the they call it the right side of the road, but for us it's a bit of a shift. So you're in amongst cars, motorcycles, and it was just like, it was organised chaos really. And then you get to the museum and it's like it was overflowing. The grounds are quite massive. It's a big complex, the Harley-Davidson Museum. There's showrooms, there's the big museum and various other buildings there, so there's lots of room, but it was overflowing with bikes. All the surrounding streets had bikes parked along them. It was really, you had to see it to believe it.
Interesting.
The two bikes that Harley launched is they're called Harley-Davidson Street Glide and Road Glide, and they're CVO models, which stands for Custom Vehicle Operations. It's basically, the top of the wazoo with all the bling and all the latest tech and all that sort of stuff. And they are really quite special. I mean, they're big machines, like the Road Glide weighs 400 kilos, so it's not sort of one you just sort of throw around a corner,
It's about 6 times your weight. How did that go?
Well, I mean, I've got to say that, when you swing your leg over one of these things, I mean, most Harleys are quite low to the ground, which suits me. I can actually reach the ground then. But the sheer weight of it when you tip it off the side stand is definitely noticeable. And when you first start rolling off, you are sort of conscious of that. But once the bike is rolling, it's actually, quite a nice bike to ride. They've really gone a long way to sort out, suspension and the engine performance. Believe it or not, they've cut a significant amount of weight of the whole bike by various means. But it's really like riding a small convertible car. You just sort of sit behind this giant fairing, and there's a surround sound stereo and all that sort of stuff.
Well, you're
it's
my
kind of bike.
You're a bare bike Triumph rider, so what can you do about that? Interesting. You've got stories about this in Wheels, in our Saturday supplement.
Mm-hmm.
But also we've got a story about Homecoming in Travel this Saturday, published, and also published online at thewest.com.au. All of those stories will be published either in the motoring section or the travel section, of course. You've got a bagel story this week. That was pretty tasty.
Yeah, that was from the walking bagel tour that I did in Brooklyn, which was really good fun. But yeah, I've put together a bit of a story on that and where we sort of went and travelled to, which was good.
Great story.
Yeah.
I had a different sort of experience. I've just back from Norway and Iceland. Of course, the motoring story there is a very clever use of EVs. We've got a story coming on that next week, actually. So we've all got a little bit of a motoring bent this week.
It'll be interesting to read about, because I mean that's one of the big issues here is that the EVs, fair enough, they're emission free, but the technology that actually makes the power is
I also, and it's just massive government input there. I mean, tax exemptions for EVs, charging everywhere, even like Iceland, even the remote villages in Iceland. Just charges everywhere. They'd be
10 years ahead of us, wouldn't they?
They just threw money in and put charges everywhere, and buying an EV is just not an issue.
No.
In either of these countries, it's just what you do. So,
but both those countries have got different forms of natural or
exactly right
ways of producing electricity.
I think such
hydro and so on.
Well-educated populations who understand that variously they'll say it's 99 or 100% renewable power for electricity. Norway, 1,600 hydroelectric power stations inside mountains. They actually put the turbines in and all the piping inside the mountains so you can't even see it. And the population knows that. I mean, added to which there's no sort of help for fuel. So petrol in Iceland's about $3.50 a litre. So that's also pretty persuasive. But I say educated populations which understand that electricity's, cheap and clean. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And the tax helps to bring down the EV price enormous. The cost of the EV car is really competitive with a petrol car. So you need all of those things in place, and then it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, interesting. Look forward to reading about that.
Yeah, well, America, flags, EVs, that's us for this week. I think you'll find all that we do online at thewest.com.au. We're all a little bit sidetracked at the moment because we have our Festival of Travel on August the 19th. So for us here recording this, it's 2.5 weeks away. So as I say in rodeo language, we're in the chute. We're just doing all our preparation for that. We'll be presenting. Mogens and Penny are the key presenters there. We'll be doing about 20 different sessions, from packing, I'm looking at Penny, to travel essentials, I'm looking at Mogens, and the rest of the team will be there. Michael Ferrante will be there talking about cruising, choosing cruises and ships. We've got Grady Brand there talking about wildflowers. Will Yeoman will be there talking about various writing aspects. So we've got the whole crew on hand. It's a full day at the University of Western Australia Club in Matilda Bay here in Perth. Tickets are at westtravelclub.com.au. We're doing a full morning and then repeating it in the afternoon, so you can buy a morning ticket or an afternoon ticket. We've also got some kind of different dining events going on there. It's all at westtravelclub.com.au. We hope we see you on the 19th. We're now going to spend a bit of the rest of the day talking about our preparation for that.
Yeah, can't wait.
We'll all feel more comfortable then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, and there'll be another episode next week.